And then looking at age and ethnicity. In general, because many cancers are a result of cumulative cell damage, people are at higher risk of developing cancers as they age. Advancing age is therefore the most important risk factor for cancer overall and for many individual cancer types. Half of all cancers occur in people over the age of 66. 25% of all cancer cases occur in people between the ages of 65 and 74 years of age, as this graph shows. Immune function also decreases with age, which will also place elderly individuals at higher risk for developing cancers as they grow older. And importantly, risk for certain pediatric cancers appears to be strongly influenced by the preconception and or prenatal diets of both fathers and mothers. Breast cancer is increasing fastest amongst Asian American women who are eating a standard American diet. This disease also strikes Asian women at younger ages and lower body weights than we see in other ethnic groups. These two graphs just shows incidence of cancer incidence and cancer mortality broken down by ethnic group. African American men have a 60% higher incidence of prostate cancer, and once diagnosed, more than twice as likely to die from the disease because African American men get more aggressive and deadly variants of prostate cancer. 5-year breast cancer survival rates for African American women are only 69% compared to 84% for Caucasian women. African Americans as a group tend to get colon cancer at younger ages and at higher rates than other Americans. Pancreatic cancer is the fastest growing cancer amongst Americans, and African American men and women have incidence rates 40% and 20% higher, 27% higher, respectively, than other Americans, with mortality rates 29 and 38% higher. And this is just a look, again, another slide from Dr. Bussey, looking at factors associated with increased cancer risk in children, less fruit consumption, less total plant fiber, more meat consumption. And the earlier you start them on meat, the worse it is. Higher processed meat consumption, being overweight in childhood, higher calorie intake, rapid growth at an early age, as we mentioned with the dairy product consumption, taller stature in childhood, which is a signal of accelerated growth, is associated with increased risk for cancer, and the earlier onset of puberty. Well, inflammation promotes cancer growth and metastasis. It is the proverbial double-edged sword. On the one hand, acute inflammation is necessary to combat infections, but when inflammation becomes chronic, it can lead to autoimmune diseases, heart disease, and cancer. Unresolved chronic inflammation and inflammatory mediators promote and cause and exacerbate a number of diseases, including the chronic diseases mentioned, dementia, autoimmune diseases, but importantly, cancer. Research has shown that several immune cells, when chronically activated, foster tumor development. Many cancers arise from sites of infection, of chronic inflammation, chronic irritation, and it's now becoming clear that the tumor microenvironment, which is largely orchestrated by inflammatory cells from our immune system, is an indispensable participant in the neoplastic or cancer-causing process that fosters proliferation, survival, and migration of cancer tumor cells. As many as 1 in 5 cancers are believed to be caused or influenced predominantly by inflammation. The inflammatory process produces cytokines, which stimulate the growth of blood vessels that bring nutrients and oxygen to these tumors. And this process can also generate free radicals that further damage DNA in these cells, potentiating their complete transformation into cancer cells. That is shown by the chart on the left. Over time, DNA damage caused by chronic inflammation may lead to other health conditions like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, stroke, and as well as increased risk for cancers. Dietary changes can help reduce inflammation, like adding more plant-based foods that contain anti-inflammatory phytonutrients and antioxidants, and by eating fermented foods such as miso, which contain natural probiotics that also reduce inflammation. Experts also recommend limiting processed foods and alcohol, which act as irritants and increase risk for cancers, particularly of the head and neck. Alcohol and its byproducts can also damage the liver, leading to inflammation in that organ, cirrhosis, and cancer. Among the many reasons consumption of vegetables and fruits is inversely associated with the incidence of cancer is their ability to combat inflammation through their antioxidant and phytochemical intake. And this is super important because we are a plant-based species. Human physiology came to depend on the constant presence of plant-derived phytonutrients and antioxidants for normal homeostasis and sustained health. And when those compounds are missing, that can promote disease. This is just a quick look at how cancer develops in the colon and spreads. Stage 0, the initial damage is done by heme iron, heat-generated mutagens, alcohol, animal protein, putrefaction, and dietary fat, toxins, hormones, long transit times. That can then lead to the promotion and growth, which leads to stage 2. And as you move through stage 3, you see growth and tissue invasion, which are fueled by inflammation, toxins, animal protein, dietary fat, hormones, and limited intake of fruits, vegetables, grains, and legumes. And finally, at stage 4 is where you start to get metastasis, where these tumor cells break off and move to different parts of the body. That is again fueled by animal protein, inflammation, toxins, dietary fat, and hormones. Plant compounds such as phytates, lignans, lectins, antioxidants, phytochemicals, sterols, and other plant compounds suppress cancer transformation and spread at all stages. And just quickly, Cologuard, which you take a stool sample and send it in, can only detect late stage cancers that have already developed because they're actually looking for cancerous DNA. Whereas if you get a colonoscopy, it can detect precancerous lesions as well as cancer itself. So when should you make changes in your diet? Before you reach the point where you're about to go over the edge of a waterfall or cliff. So you don't want to wait till the very end. You should change your diet and lifestyle without delay. As is written in the Bible, today, if you hear his voice or the truth, do not harden your hearts, but make the change. Don't wait until your disease is too advanced or a combination of advanced disease and the toxicities of conventional treatment have put you into multi-organ system failure and left you at death's door. So again, good medical advice. Please eat your veggies. All right. We're now at the end of part 1, and I'm going to move into part 2 and try to get through as much of it as I can in the time I have remaining. Again, give us vegetables to eat, water to drink, good advice that we all should adhere to. So part 2 of our lecture on diet and cancer, burning down the house, or putting out the flames. Every bite you take of food is either fighting disease or feeding it. And it is written, beloved, I pray that all may go well with you and that you may be in good health. That is 3 John verse 1 and 2. And Hippocrates said years ago, let food be thy medicine and let medicine be thy food.